5-7 the game. So, yeah, it was a really good conversation, I thought. The Roast talked about it a little bit, Steiny and Goo as well. And the more I sat there and thought about it, I'm like, we gotta stop doing this because we are acting insane. You all know the definition of insanity. And Andrew Wiggins, maybe more so than any athlete I've ever watched, certainly more than any conversation that all of us routinely have. He brings out our insanity more than anybody, because that definition of insanity, doing the same thing and expecting a different result, is the Andrew Wiggins experience. He has not played his best basketball, and I mean that even in a Wiggins sense so far this year. We get that. But turning the tables on us a little bit is probably relevant here. Why are we expecting this to look like it did for 4 to 5 months 2 years ago? Why are we expecting that? It usually isn't that. For his decade-long career now, it very, very, very usually isn't that. And so this is Andrew. And that's okay. He's still a very good basketball player. You're not asking him to be your one. You're not asking him to be your two. Quite frankly, I don't even really know where he fits in after that. In the NBA, once you get by your one and your two, the rest of the numbers really kind of rotate. Sometimes Draymond Green is your third most important player. I could argue that Draymond Green sometimes is your most important player. But as far as scoring options, pecking order in the NBA, the third, the fourth option, whatever, that can rotate night to night based on who's got it going. And that's where Andrew sits. And that, my friends, is okay. Super frustrating, but it's okay, because that's who you acquired for D'Angelo Russell and a pick. So it's not like the Warriors lost anything in this. It wasn't a bad deal. It wasn't a stupid signing. Wasn't any of those things. Based on who he was a couple of years ago, they got him at a relative discount. But you know exactly who Andrew Wiggins is, especially if you've ever picked up a golf club. Any of you play golf? I don't care how good you are. You can shoot in the 70s. You can shoot in the 90s. Maybe you can't break 100. But all of you, at least once, have dialed up that driver and whacked it right down the middle of the fairway, 200, 250, 300 yards. You've done that. And you did not expect yourself to do it on the next hole too, because that's not you. But that's Andrew Wiggins. That's who he is. He's our golf swing. We hit the ball good one time, and we're like, there, that's me. No. No, that's your best self. But when you go to the next tee box and you duck hook it into the woods and you look at your playing partners, hang on, let me take another one. That's not me. Yes, it is. That's you too. And you can't, I would argue, you can't be good at golf until you accept that in the back of your mind. You watch professionals, and sure, they get upset, but largely they kind of don't, right? They like everybody is even Steven, because they know they're going to slice it sometimes. They're going to hook it sometimes. And when you do, you better accept the challenge right away to go in the woods and get the ball back out and in play. Not expect that every single shot is going to be your absolute best self. Nobody asks that of themselves, right? I woke up with a little bit of a headache today. It's not my best day. Not my best self. All good. All good. That's the way it is. So I don't know why we're asking that of Andrew Wiggins. And therefore, I guess where the conversation goes next is, do you accept this Andrew Wiggins? And we can get into that. 888-957-9570. I would argue, yes, I do. I do for multiple reasons. One, you knew who you were getting. Two, you do, in some big moments, get the guy who has the physical ability to run the whole show. You all know this if you watch Warrior basketball. They don't win 2 years ago without the way he played. They flat out don't. So you get that sometimes, but this team is also only asking him to be a third option, a fourth option, and then that's what they're getting. And then I feel like then we get frustrated at him for being exactly who this franchise is asking him to be. Feels a little unfair to me. You may say, well, no, it's unfair that somebody with those physical gifts doesn't play hard all the time. I wonder if it isn't time to change that part. Is Andrew really coasting? Is he just not that motivated? Or is he just not as good as we all want him to be? That's always the backdrop for guys who get drafted like that. When you're the number 1 overall pick, how the hell do you meet those expectations? Your name is alongside people like LeBron James. How do you meet that? You know, Klay Thompson's dad was the number 1 overall pick in the draft. He ended up being a very, very good, productive NBA player. But he also did that as a bench player, largely, with the Los Angeles Lakers. That's when his career really got successful. He's good with Portland, had some time in San Antonio. He's a good player. Number 1 overall? I don't know about that. So it's time for the scale to slide, in my opinion. It's time for us to stop going number 1 pick in the draft, number 1 pick. It wasn't even the Warrior pick, so who cares? That's over. That's Cleveland and Minnesota's issue from the trade and whatever they got out of Andrew Wiggins. The Warriors acquired this player. They knew exactly who they were acquiring. That's who they've gotten. He's been more good than bad, but he's not a LeBron James type player. He's not who I think Victor Wembanyama is going to be. He's not Shaq. It's Andrew Wiggins, and he's good. Notice the tone. Yeah, he's a good player. I'm not going to use the word great because he's not a great player. He just isn't. He's a very good player. I think that from sort of like a conceptual standpoint, the attitude of Andrew Wiggins is perfect. Remember what the knock, if you want to call it, on him was in the Minnesota days. It was a few years of playing, and they weren't really a playoff team, and people went, you know what about this guy? He's very talented, but he just doesn't have that dog in him. Well, I think that's kind of true. And I'd argue the Warriors don't want to have that dog in him. How many dogs do you want on your team? They got Draymond Green. They're sitting here now with Chris Paul. I know Steph looks like he's just the kindest, softest, happiest thing ever out there. But you all know how much of a dog that guy is, how competitive he is. Klay Thompson, you know all about the competitiveness and the inner fire of a Klay Thompson. Dirty work guy like Kevon Looney. How many dogs do you need? I would probably argue that if Andrew Wiggins if he had that dog in him, probably wouldn't fit He wouldn't be a Warrior anymore. You know who wanted to have that dog in him? You know who wanted to tell people, hey, this is how much I should be playing. I should be getting more shots. I should. Jordan Poole. He was an I should guy. So now he plays for the Wizards. Andrew's exactly who the Warriors need him to be. And in the NBA, there's only room for so many guys to be great and shine in any given year on any given roster. He's just not that guy. So it's probably time for us to stop expecting him to be that guy. I would love to hear from some of you on this. The way you approach watching Andrew Wiggins play basketball. And does it cause you anxiety and stress? 888-957-9570. We're giving you a chance, as you know, to play a game of knockout at Chase Center today and every day for the rest of this week. Make sure you are listening in about 5 minutes, okay? In about 5 minutes, we open the window. You got to be listening through the window. Something I say will be turned into a question that we will then ask. You'll have your chance to win. More details on that in a moment. We're also sponsored by BMW. Solo ride here today. Mark Willard with you on Willard and Dibs.
Now, back to Willard and Dibbs on 95.7 The Game.
All right, we're going to go to the phones in a second. We are back on YouTube. And so we had a little bit of a tech difficulty there. Thank you to those of you who are still there. If you fell off or left to actually try to go do something with your day, that'll be just about enough of that. Get your butt back onto YouTube right now, and you can see my fancy setup right here at my home with my son's bed right behind me, with a Giants pillow on one side and a 49er blanket or Snuggie right on the other side. Let's go, okay? Stop acting like you're allowed to go do stuff with your afternoon. Get back on YouTube right now. Yes, it's Willard and Dibbs. It's just me, Willard. Hi. We got a Warrior game in an hour, so we're rocking and rolling. In this form today doesn't mean anything changes with regard to, for example, your opportunity to win your way into knockout at Chase Center. More on that in just a second. It is a Monster Monday. It's brought to you by First 5 California. To learn 4 things you can do to overcome toxic stress, go to first5california.com. Now, for your chance to play a game of knockout at Chase Center, make sure you're listening for the next 15 minutes. I don't want you just listening right now. You got to understand again how this works. During this whole 15-minute window, I'm going to say a bunch of stuff. Some callers are going to say stuff. Anything that happens in that 15-minute window could turn into a question from the creative minds of Lucas and Grandy. They will spit that question out. I will ask it to you right when we hear this sounder. Okay? When we hear that sounder next time, not this time, next time, not this time, next time, then we'll ask the question about something that was said over these next 15 minutes. You will then call the contest line, the first one to answer correctly. Boom, you're in at Chase Center. So make sure you are 100% locked in for the next 15 minutes. The question will come from something that happens in that window. Has everybody got the rules? Are we all on the same freaking page? Oh, okay. Good. Glad you're with us today. Willard and Dibbs, 95.7 The Game, taking your calls, 888-957-9570. Warrior basketball is at 4 o'clock, and so Warriors Live is going to start here in 23 minutes. Let's go out to the calls. Hey, David in Walnut Creek. Thank you for calling. What's up, David? What are you doing?
Hey, Mark.
Hey, David. What are you doing?
Oh, I confused. Sorry, I was in San Mateo, so it confused me. I thought there was another David. I'm doing well, picking up my kid, and wanted to talk to you about Andrew Wiggins. And I don't need him to be a dog, because I think you're right. We don't need another dog in the team. But I wouldn't like him to get a rebound, Mark. Take 3 steps towards the basket and jump. 3, 4, 5, maybe rebounds. Finish, maybe, finish a layup. That'd be okay, too. But, some rebounds. That's all I'm asking.
Right. So here's the thing. I get what you're saying, and even sort of like from an emotional level, I hear you. Like there's some sarcasm in there. There's some truth in there. There's all of that. But by the same token, it's just for whatever reason, it's not him. That's not him. And so after a decade, I want to know how rational it is for us to still think that this guy is going to crash boards maniacally. I know he did it in the playoffs. So I know he can, but again, I go back to my analogy of the golf swing from 10 minutes ago. I can hit the ball 275 yards down the middle of the fairway. I can, and sometimes I do. And I'm not a terrible golfer. So, with somewhat frequency, I do. And then also, I frequently hit the ball into the woods or mishit the ball. And so that's me. So I can't ask myself to hit the ball straight every time. I just don't know if it's rational for us to think that Andrew can or is going to do that. He can do it sometimes. He's just not going to do it consistently. You get what I'm saying? Let's go to K-Dog in Corte Madera. And I hope these cities are right. Walnut Creek is nowhere near San Mateo, Lucas. What the hell was that? What's happening here? We're not even in the same.
Internet was down.
Yeah, we're not. The internet was down. Okay. San Mateo, Walnut Creek, same deal. All right. K-Dog, next up. Hey, K-Dog, what are you doing?
Hey, Willard, how you doing? I'm just coming back into work. Got a little burger, and was listening to you about Andrew Wiggins, and I think you're kind of hitting the nail on the head. I don't like to admit that because I love Wiggins. I love his smile. He just seems so like a joyful kid out there, like a man-child. But, the golf analogy maybe is a good one, but maybe he's just saving himself for the playoffs. Maybe he will emerge and, apply himself more in the playoffs. I don't know. The other thing I'd like to comment on is the Arizona Wildcat football team emerging into the top 25 for the first time in a long time. That's my alma mater. I'm stoked. It's the first time in decades that I've been able to be excited and even share that fact. So that's all I have.
Super random. But K-Dog, I spent all day Saturday at Pac-12 Network, and let me tell you, drip it all over the place. I'm telling you, we all the analysts in the building very excited about Noah Fafita. K-Dog, give me 5 seconds on Fafita.
I love Fafita. As a matter of fact, I would rather have him than I don't know, the guy Penix for Washington is really good, but Fafita is calm, stoic. He's a freshman. He's got good field presence. He rises to the occasion. I love the guy. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking about getting a tattoo on my arm like his, so I could look like a warrior from Hawaii, like Fafita.
That sounds like a little much. But K-Dog, I feel you. I feel your excitement. It is completely random. And it's also interesting. The Pac-12 this year, just if I may, for 10 seconds, this guy Fafita is exciting everybody, and Arizona is on the come for sure. But at the same time, I don't even know if he's a top 5 quarterback in the conference because there are that many good quarterbacks in the conference. When you look at what Caleb Williams, he mentions Penix Jr., Bo Nix, and it goes on and on and on. Just unbelievable for the Pac-12 swan song. But anyway, back to Wiggins. So, he says maybe the golf analogy is a good one. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm the one who came up with it, but I do think it's a good one. And I'm not saying that means you can't be bugged by it, because we're totally bugged when we yank the ball into the woods. We slam the ground with our clubs. You ever snap a club on a golf course? Because if you haven't lived. Okay? I did it once with my 3-wood. Great drive on a par 5. I thought I was going to get there in 2, and I hit a ground ball in the second shot. Whack! Snapped the thing right in the middle of the shaft. Super embarrassing when you go into the golf shop and you're like, hey, I need this club reshafted. And you try to give them that excuse of it just kind of slipped out of my hands. And they can look at where the shaft broke, and they're like, yeah. So we know exactly what happened there is you hucked your club. That's what happened on that one. You threw your club into the ground. So we don't want your story. You're a hothead. Give us the club and 3 days and about $50, and then you can have it back. That's how that works. It's a super walk of shame, golf style. But we do that, even though we should expect it. So you can do the same thing when you're watching Andrew. I don't want you to break your TV, but you get what I'm saying. I'm not telling you to not be frustrated by it, but then I guess in the next breath, I sort of am. You can be mad, but I would sit down in front of Warrior games sort of acknowledging if that makes you mad, then get ready to be mad. Because because this is what you're going to get. I would much rather plan for Wiggins to be all of the things that we call him: inconsistent, a coaster, whatever other words that you want to throw in there as far as characters. I'd rather expect that and then be pleasantly surprised when he comes out and plays a stretch like he did in the playoffs 2 years ago. I would much, much rather that be the case than the other way around. Which is going in thinking, well, today's going to be the day that Andrew Wiggins plays like a man possessed. It's just not him. Let's go to Bud in Oakland. Hey, Bud. You're on 95.7 The Game. What's up?
What's good? Hey, yeah. As far as Andrew Wiggins being a dog, he doesn't have to be a dog, but he shows that he has a dog mentality inside of him. And yeah, going back to the playoff run a couple years ago. I mean, we all remember he dunked on Luka so hard, Luka faked like he was injured and tried to get him an offensive foul, and they looked at it and that was a dog play. So we don't need him to be a dog, but he shows that dog mentality can come out. And what happens when you put too many dogs in the kennel? Somebody's going to get bit, and that's your reference what happened with Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole wanted to show that he was a dog in the kennel with a bunch of dogs, and he got bit, and he got shown the door. You know what I mean? So we don't, like you said, we don't need him to be a dog, but as long as we know that dog mentality is there, it's going to come out, and yeah, maybe it's going to come out in the playoff run. But then again, it's only 7 games in. Everybody's trying to fill in. We're letting Chris Paul get in and do his thing. I think it's just a little too early to worry or even try to speculate, even though we know this is who Andrew Wiggins is. You know what I mean? But let's not forget, he does have dog mentality inside him, and just let the man ball when you do, man. Thanks for taking the call.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think it's a great call, too. Thank you for checking in with us. I mean, I look at that this way. Yes, it's in there, but it's not always going to be there. And I think all of us have characteristics like that. And I guess what I'm grappling with right now is that okay? If one of the characteristics is, yes, the dog is in there, but here's another characteristic of Andrew. It's not going to always be there. Like, it's literally a characteristic of him that characteristic is not always going to be one of his characteristics. And all of us have a lot of those things. You ever snap? You ever just lose it on someone? Well, thank God that's not there all the time. It just comes out sometimes. I don't know what got into Andrew 2 years ago. I have no idea. I've just now settled with the idea that whatever was going on then, that was the weird thing, not this. And we've watched his own teammates ask for it, right? We know that Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins did not mesh that well. We know that Steph Curry has gone to the microphone after games and said, this is who we want Andrew to be all the time. Draymond has done it. Andrew has spoken about Draymond speaking to him. And sometimes you just can't talk yourself into a certain way of doing things. Sometimes you're not able to do that. And I feel like we've arrived at that moment with Andrew. It's also totally fair what Bud says about the length of this season. You know what I mean? Like this conversation could very easily end up being a silly one that we point to in a month. Remember when Willard came on and was like, yep, Andrew's just not a dog. And then Andrew goes on some sort of a run that puts him on the all-star team again. Maybe. Totally within the realm of possibility. I'd bet against it. But completely within the realm of possibility because he does have that kind of ability inside him. But it's not going to be most of the time. And that's sort of where I've arrived, which is that's probably a good thing for the Warriors. And I know that sounds backwards. I'm not saying you don't want the production, but what you don't want from Andrew is the attitude. You don't want the attitude that it might take for him to be the player that you want him to be. That's the push-pull that we're talking about with Andrew. Think about that for a moment. And it's all over the NBA. It's absolutely everywhere. James Harden sat in front of a microphone a few days ago, joining a team that he's never played with before, and had the nerve to say, I'm not a system player, I am a system. He had the nerve to say that. That's the pettiness of NBA stars. If Andrew acted like that, the Warriors would implode. So I'd love the production, but I don't want the attitude that usually comes with that kind of production from Andrew Wiggins. All right. Mark Willard with you here. Willard and Dibs. We're getting close. Yeah, we're getting close to Warriors Live, but there it is. That is the sounder, and so here we go. It is time to play Knockout at Chase Center. Here is the question that you're going to need to answer. I'll give you the contest line right now so you can dial it up. 415-523-4652. Here's the question that you're going to need to answer. Earlier in this segment, we had a caller, K-Dog, and he made me laugh out loud, LOL, by suggesting that Wiggins may just be saving himself for this portion of the season. Answer what is this referring to there. So again, K-Dog made me laugh by suggesting that Wiggins may just be saving himself for this portion of the season. If you've got that answer, you want to call right now, 415-523-4652. One more time, 415-523-4652. Your chance to play a game of Knockout at Chase Center. Call now, 415-523-4652. We'll do that every single day this week. And remember, once we're back to our regular schedule starting tomorrow and for the remainder of the week, this particular show will do that at 4:30 every single day. You'll need to be with us to get the info you need to be ready to win your way into Chase Center Knockout. That'll be a whole lot of fun. Look, there's a fine line here in terms of what we're talking about. Like, wouldn't you all, and I bet if you're going to have a rational moment with me, the likely outcome for the Warriors this year, and I don't say this because they're 5-2, it's too early to really know how this season is going to take shape. But I know how I feel about this team, and I know what some of the characteristics are that we can already see, like a more mature team, a team that can win on the road. I think the Warriors are likely going to be a top 5 seed in the West, a very good team, make noise in the playoffs, but then fall just short of winning the whole thing. That's the likeliest outcome. I'm just speaking about this in terms of like what Vegas would say about them right now. That's the likeliest outcome. They could overachieve and win the whole thing. And I think their floor is to be a playoff team and a first round out. That's the bottom of the barrel. The top of the barrel would be to win the whole darn thing. And for them to win the whole thing, their wild cards, Andrew Wiggins and Jonathan Kuminga, are going to have to be good. So Wiggins is going to have to be good. I don't know if he's going to have to be great, but he's going to have to be good. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm just looking for good, not great, because he's a good player, but he's not a great player. So to expect it, get mad at it, bang the head against the wall, to think that that very best of Wiggins is going to be consistent, that's all you're going to be doing. You're just going to be banging head against the wall. All right. It's Willard and Dibs, just Willard today. We're presented by Fremont Bank. full service banking, no compromises. Warriors Live is coming up next, and the Warriors have a very, very big announcement to make. We'll have all of that for you coming up on 95.7 The Game.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who specialize in saving the day and for the ones who've mastered the art of keeping business moving. We offer industrial...
Warriors basketball is back. Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, and Chris Paul. 60 minutes before every game, we get you ready for tip. It's Warriors Live, and it starts now.
And Warriors Live is sponsored by Xfinity, the Xfinity 10G network made for streaming live sports. The countdown is on. The GSW Hoop in action at Detroit tonight, looking to get a new winning streak started and keep that road record sparkling as it has been. Their first blemish coming yesterday at the hands of the Cleveland Cavaliers, but now a game you figure that they should win, as they will play their veterans, and we can start off with the breaking news that Draymond Green indeed will play tonight. Was listed as questionable with left ankle soreness, which we're told, courtesy Doc Pandia, who you hear here on 95.7 The Game all the time, that ankle soreness is something that can happen, reboot a little bit, lingering off of the preseason injury that he had. But all systems go, and Draymond always wants to put his best foot forward when heading back home. So he is in tonight, and the Warriors have a clean injury report. We'll get you that full injury report in just a few. But Mark Willard with you as we count you down to Warriors and Pistons, and also get you ready for what is going to be a major announcement. And we will, in a handful of minutes, coming up here shortly, send it out live to Chase Center for a very big announcement by the Warriors and the NBA that is expected. Quite frankly, I don't even know exactly what's going to be said, but a major announcement is coming here in just a few moments. So make sure you are with us for that, because we will send it out to Chase Center very, very soon. Glad you're here on the countdown. And in fact, let's go ahead and get the injury report in, brought to you by Boxer & Gerson, Northern California's premier workers' compensation law firm, helping injured workers get their lives back for over 40 years. For more info, visit boxerlaw.com. For the Warriors, that injury report was just Draymond Green, left ankle soreness, questionable, but he is now officially in. So no injury report for the Warriors. However, the Detroit Pistons have a lengthy one. Bojan Bogdanovic, Joe Harris, Isaiah Livers, Monty Morris, all out. Alec Burks and Jaden Ivey were both question marks until about an hour ago, but they are now listed as out as well. So Cunningham is going to have the ball in his hands a lot. He'll have opportunity to pretty much do whatever he wants out there in this one tonight. That'll be the Warriors' assignment to slow him down a little bit. And let's place our eye on the stats of Andrew Wiggins today, because we've been talking so much about him. So with the eye on the stats, rough start to the season for the Warriors starting small forward. Listen to some of the per-game averages through the first 7 games. 11.7 points, just 3 rebounds, less than an assist per game, shooting 44% from the field, 20% from 3, and 57% from the free throw line. All of those numbers are terrible. There's no other way to put that. They're terrible. So let's tuck into the conversation that we've been having about Andrew Wiggins to say that in these 7 games, he actually has been an even lesser version of what I would refer to as his normal self. I mean, I'm driving the point home that we got to stop expecting Andrew Wiggins to be a great player, because he's not. He's a very, very good player, but he is not a great player. But this Andrew that we're looking at is something even less than his normal self. And I think that there could be some reasons for that go beyond the small sample size. The guy doesn't have a steal yet this year. He's playing fewer than 26 minutes a night. That obviously has a lot to do with it as well. And he has had a hard time getting into the closing lineup so far this year. So something doesn't feel right with Andrew Wiggins. We'll hear, I'll let you hear from Steve Kerr on that in just a moment here. But a reminder that Eye on the Stats is brought to you by Goodman Eye Center. When it comes to your vision, be sure to go with a winning team. Go with Dr. Daniel Goodman and his team at the Goodman Eye Center, the choice of champions. Schedule a free consultation at GoodmanEyeCenter.com. Here's what Steve Kerr had to say just yesterday with regard to the Andrew Wiggins experience.
No, it's been a little bit of a slow start, but the defense is the key. His defense is always so important for us, and the better he is defensively, the more his offense will come. So, I'm not worried about Wiggs at all. Just it's a slow start, and he's got a long track record. He's been with us for 5 years now, so he knows how we play, and I can probably try to help him out a little bit with some things, but Wiggs will get there.
Yeah, you hear Steve Kerr there with the tone that I feel like he always kind of sets. And rather than just taking that at face value, I'd rather look at who Steve Kerr is and what this team is, and that's the tone that he's always going to try to set. Steve Kerr knows that when you have a veteran team that is very, very accomplished, you don't sound alarms. You just don't. You don't sound alarms. My dog will, but other than that, you try to avoid sounding alarms because that doesn't help a veteran team. They don't need that. They don't need to be poked and prodded and asked for something in an emotional sense. So it doesn't surprise me that Steve's going to sort of strike that tone, but it doesn't mean I'm going to take that at face value. Like, how many months is it going to be where the franchise is going to say, hey, Wiggs is going to find it. Wiggs is going to be here. Wiggs is fine. It's all good. Wiggs, we're here when Wiggs is ready to be Wiggs. Like, I'm not saying they should say anything different. I do wonder to what level we should buy it. And I know that I'm talking about two different things at the same time when you think about the play this year versus the way that last year ended with Andrew gone for a period of time. And then he showed up for the playoffs, and he was largely, he was Andrew. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't great. It wasn't awful by any stretch. He had some really nice games in that series against the Kings. But the whole no concerns at all, whatever, Wiggins is going to be here and he's going to be good. Well, always look for when the words and the actions align. And right now, the actions are that the Warriors don't believe Andrew is at his best. They don't believe that, because if they did, he would be playing more than the 25 to 26 minutes a night. He would be in the finishing lineup a lot more. So the good news is that Jonathan Kuminga is actually playing a little bit better. He's been more productive than Andrew, and they would love to give him a bigger role. He would like a bigger role. Maybe he's going to grow into it. Maybe he is going to start stealing some of the minutes from Andrew Wiggins, and maybe that's not necessarily such a terrible thing. Take it to the bank prediction is brought to you by Fremont Bank. Full service banking, no compromises. I said it earlier when talking to Steiny and Goo on the crossover. I would argue the prediction tonight is a double-digit win for the Golden State Warriors, because it just flat out needs to be that. If the Warriors are truly going to be a different basketball team than they were last year, and I clearly think they are. I mean, 4 road wins already when compared to what we saw last year. This is a completely different animal. I think that's already been proven. But if there are still remnants of who this team used to be, then they could struggle tonight. But if those remnants are clearly gone, and I think the Warriors would like them to be, they'd like us to believe that they are. If they truly are, this is the kind of game where the Warriors will impose their will, if you will, on the Pistons. It's a whole lot of wills. So I will predict that they will win. You think about who the Pistons are. They're pups. And if the whole narrative of the Warriors season this year is that, hey, now we're playing adult basketball. We are buttoned up. And we're going to handle business. That's the kind of vibe that we're talking about with the Warriors. This is that type of game. This is as long as you're buttoned up, as long as you're minding what you're doing out there, you're going to win this basketball game. So I got the Warriors winning this one by double digits. If you want to take that to the actual bank, I haven't even looked at what the spread is. I don't know. But I'll look that up for you for a second. But I think the Warriors are going to play really well tonight and shake off last night's loss, back on the winning track before they move on and get a little time off. Let's let you hear a little bit more from the Warriors squad after their loss to the Cavaliers yesterday. Let's hear from Steph Curry. One of the interesting aspects I thought over the weekend that you may have missed. So going into the weekend, the two rooks, Brandon Pajemski, Trace Jackson-Davis, were sent to Santa Cruz. Do you need any more evidence that Draymond Green sometimes runs the team? Actually, let's give you more on that in a little bit. Here comes the Warriors' major announcement. Let's go live to Chase Center now.
NBA TV and on the NBA app ahead of the Warriors matchup against the Pistons. That Joe really wants this one, right? No doubt. My name is Bonte Hill, host of Warriors pregame and postgame live on NBC Sports Bay Area, and host of the Morning Roast on 95.7 The Game from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. In case you're wondering, no, I don't sleep much. I'd like to introduce our guest joining us on stage this afternoon. Warriors co-executive chairman and CEO, Joe Lacob. Warriors co-executive chairman, Peter Guber. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver, the mayor of this great city, San Francisco, London Breed, Warriors president and chief operating officer, my man, Brandon Schneider. And we have some NBA alumni representation in the audience today. Please join me in welcoming Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame member and 5-time NBA All-Star, 2-time Olympic gold medalist, and a member of the original Dream Team, the 92 Barcelona Games. My man and co-host on Warriors pre- and post-game live, Chris Mullen. Also joining us is Marcy Thurman, wife of Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame member and 7-time All-Star, Nate Thurman. How you doing, Marcy? Thanks for joining us. By the way, Nate dropped 16 points and 18 rebounds in the 67 game at the Cow Palace in Daly City. Unfortunately, he didn't get MVP because of some guy named Rick Barry. Go figure. I'd also like to welcome a few notable guests joining us today. We're joined by a number of dignitaries representing the state of California and the Bay Area, including State Treasurer Fiona Ma, State Controller Malia Cohen, and a key partner to the Warriors, Mayor of Oakland, Shang Tao. Please also welcome President and CEO of the Bay Area Host Committee, Zainleen Jan Mohammed, and the entire Bay Area Host Committee board. I'd also like to recognize San Francisco Travel, including newly appointed President and CEO Scott Beck, who has joined us today. Thank you all for joining us to represent the Bay Area. We are here today to celebrate some great and very exciting NBA news. So to get things started, I'd like to turn it over to NBA Commissioner Adam Silver.
Thank you, Bonte, and thank you all for being here for this exciting announcement. So without further ado, it's my honor, my pleasure to announce that the 2025 All-Star Game will be held here in San Francisco at the Chase Center. You know, let me thank Joe Lako, Peter Guber, for their leadership, for their enthusiasm, and along with Brandon Snyder, and having the All-Star game here. It's a thrill to be back. I was here for the game when it was last in the Bay Area in 2000. I want to thank Mayors Breed and Tao. Thank you for their support and coming back to the community. It means so much to us. And I would just say to our fans here in the Bay Area, for the All-Star festivities in 2025, this will be the epicenter of basketball around the world. I know our fans from everywhere love coming to this market. They love being part of the excitement here, all the great things that this market has to offer. And I'll just add that so much innovation around the game has really come from the people who live and work in the Bay Area. So I want to thank you for that as well. So Bonte, I know we're going to answer any questions, but I'm just thrilled to be here as part of this announcement. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Adam. And congratulations to Joe Lacob, Peter Guber, and the entire Golden State Warriors organization and the San Francisco Bay Area on this exciting news. All-Star 2025 coming to Chase Center, baby. It's going to be a lot of fun. And speaking of which, dunk contest 2000, you brought up Vince Carter. You think about Vince Carter in 2000 games, but Joe, I'm going to start with you here. This is great news. Great news for you. It's not the first time the Warriors have hosted the All-Star game. Obviously, 67 in Daly City at the Cow Palace, and 2000 at the Oakland Arena when Vince Carter did steal the show. Can you talk a little bit about the history of the All-Star in the Bay Area and how excited you are for this community in this city?
Well, you stole all my data. I was going to talk about 1967 and Rick Barry and Nate Thurmond and 16 and 18. I got all this memorized and you hit it all already. But that was great. 67 was a great year. Rick Barry, of course, a great player. And, I would like to say Cow Palace, of course, was the arena back then. We'd like to think this is a little bit of an upgrade. So hopefully we'll be able to put that on display and exhibit that. And then in 2000, of course, I went to that one personally as a fan at the time. And that was also a great, the Vince Carter dunk contest, as you pointed out, was so amazing. So those were two great events. But what I think we're really looking forward to is next year, so a little over a year away here, we have this game here locally, and our own Steph Curry hopefully is in this game. He put 50 on in Cleveland, a couple of years ago, 16 threes, I think it was. Maybe we can see something even greater than that. He gets to play for the first time, hopefully in front of his home fans. And so that would be one of my great wishes for it. But regardless, it's going to be a great event and a number of great players. And again, at the epicenter of basketball will be here at Chase Center in San Francisco in 2025.
Adam, this question is for you. What about the NBA All-Star in 2025 is the most exciting, and what can fans expect?
Boy, we're spending so much time thinking about what I call back to basketball. I mean, for example, we shouldn't forget we have an All-Star game coming up this season. It'll be in Indianapolis, and we're returning to the traditional All-Star format, the East versus West, no trick endings, just straight up basketball. And I know we're busy already planning for new excitement that will be, with Brandon and his staff, thinking about what All-Star 2025 will be. I mean, people are out there talking about concepts about a Ryder Cup type format, maybe thinking about U.S. players playing against global players. I just know we're looking at all different approaches to All-Star, and this is a great market to try new things. I mean, when you think of innovation, you think of the Bay Area, you think of San Francisco and the Oakland area. So, stay tuned.
I like that. Mayor Breed, you grew up 20 minutes away from here. You're a resident here in San Francisco. As a leader of this great city, what does it mean to you to have NBA All-Star 2025 here at Chase?
Well, first of all, let me just say the Warriors, they are a Bay Area team. And I want to also give a shout out in addition to the mayor of Oakland, but the mayor of San Jose is here. Mayor Mahan, thank you so much for joining us. But what does it mean? It means a lot of money and a lot of visitors. We anticipate 135,000 people will be coming here to the Bay Area to participate in some capacity over the 3-day period. And we anticipate over $350 million poured into our economy in the local businesses, in the job opportunities, and all the other activities surrounding All-Star Weekend. And I, for one, can't wait because there'll be parties, events, activities, fun, and everything else. In addition to that, we have a WNBA team that will be here in 2025 as well. So all of those things, in addition to the over 300 events and activities that will be happening in Chase Center, this is like the icing on the cake.
Mayor Breed, more broadly, what does it mean to the city to have a world-class venue in Chase Center that attracts global events such as All-Star?
Well, it means so much. As I said, it's not just about the economy, but it's the excitement. San Francisco is one of the most beautiful cities in the world, and people travel from all over to visit, whether it's tourism or it's conventions and other events. And this particular event, it's long overdue to have it right here in the Bay Area, and San Francisco at Chase Center is the perfect place to do so.
No doubt about that. Peter, we just heard from Mayor Breed about what it means to the city of San Francisco and the Bay Area for hosting NBA All-Star. What does it mean to the Warriors organization to bring this exciting event back to the Bay after 25 years?
Well, you dream about these things when you start a process some 14 years ago, way back in Oakland, and starting it when we just were going to own it and where we were going to go. But we always visioned building a new venue. We did it, a world-class venue. And then we always visioned having a great team. We did it. The Warriors, how they are. We always visioned having a great fan base that was all of the Bay Area. We did it. And we've been successful in together with all of you and the whole community. But we also promised ourselves we'd bring the All-Star game back to San Francisco, and we would bring it with style and elan and great grace and have a fantastic experience for our fans, the global fans. This audience for this will be a global audience. They will all be watching it. The reach and touch of the All-Star game is pervasive in the sports marketplace. We're lucky to have it, and I'm glad we connected these artists with that audience, and I can't wait to see it all happen.
Brandon, as we all know, the San Francisco Bay Area will play host to NBA All-Star in 2025, but also the Super Bowl, the FIFA World Cup in 2026. There's clearly an appetite for global sporting events that come to the Bay Area. Can you elaborate on why?
Well, I think it starts because, as we all know, the Bay Area is a sports town. This is for the fans. We are so excited for fans in the Bay Area to be able to interact and be part of All-Star, in addition from fans obviously coming from all over the world. So that's number one. We're also really fortunate to have government and business leaders that understand the importance and the impact of hosting events like All-Star. So the partnership with a whole host of people, many of who are in the room today, we wouldn't be here without the leadership and the support from the city of San Francisco, Mayor Breed, the city of Oakland, Mayor Tao, and your teams. Thank you very much for that. And of course, the Bay Area Host Committee has been with us every step of the way and will be a big part of bringing these events to life over the next few years. And then there's a few other partners I wanted to acknowledge. SF Travel, who was a huge part of the bid process. Your team puts us through the ringer, Adam. So thank you to SF Travel for your role through that. And obviously we'll be great partners over the next couple of years as we lead up to 2025. Also wanted to say thanks to the Hotel Council, Bay Area Council, that will be a huge part of bringing these events to life as we showcase the Bay Area to fans from all over the world.
Brandon, we've heard.
All right, there it is, the big announcement that the Warriors and the city of San Francisco will host the All-Star Game 2025. Congratulations to everybody involved with the Warriors. Should be a heck of an event. We are already looking forward to it here. Just a little bit over a year away, to be honest with you. So it should be really, really interesting. Same can be said for the Warriors and the Pistons, which is right around the corner here on 95.7 The Game. Warriors Live is presented by the Xfinity 10G Network, the best way to stream live sports. Warriors do have the services of Draymond Green. If you're just joining us, listed as questionable with some ankle soreness, but he is going to be in for the Dubs tonight. I promised you earlier a look at what the current number is, sort of the expectations for this game tonight. The Warriors, depending on where you find it, about a 7.5 to 8 point favorite in this basketball game tonight. I like them to win this one by double digits. It's just a timing thing as the Warriors try to get back on track, and it's an arrow toward their maturity. This is a button it up game. Get yourself back on track, and I think that is exactly what they're going to do. A lot of time spent on Andrew Wiggins tonight. Can he get himself on track? We'll find that out as we send you out to the arena and continue the countdown coverage here in just a little bit. So it is Warriors and Pistons as we continue here on 95.7 The Game coming up next.